Epic Universe grand opening was absolutely insane, and we are still reeling from what we experienced. Hello everybody, welcome. We've attended every Universal opening for decades, and I promise you, no matter what you thought the grand opening of Epic Universe was gonna be, it definitely wasn't this. Epic Universe is officially open after years of reviews and videos and speculation covering every detail of this park. It is finally here, and all I can say is, wow. This was the wildest and craziest theme park event that I have ever attended. But I want to start out by saying this will be a completely spoiler-free video because I know so many of you have trips that you've planned, you're going to be here very soon, and you don't want it spoiled for you. But tomorrow's video is going to be packed with spoilers. It's going to be my full video of the day. But I wanted to quickly sort of put out this review of my day so you can get a little bit of an idea of how it went and all the details and the craziness that went on during grand opening. Alright, let's get started. So let's talk about the very first thing, the arrival at the park. We got there about 5 o'clock in the morning and we drove to the park and went to the main parking area. And I was full on expecting getting there at 5 because the parking lot opened at 6 o'clock per the information that everybody attending opening day got that information in an email. So we knew 6 o'clock was the magic time for getting in the parking lot, and the buses were going to start running from the hotels at 6 a.m. as well. So I thought for sure getting there at 5 a.m. we were going to be really far back in the line of cars that was waiting to get in the parking lot. To my absolute surprise, we were near the front. Like, we were really close to being in the front, being that late. So that was my first indicator that I was like, huh, this is weird. I thought for sure, because I've attended other opening events, even for Universal, and they were a zoo, like absolutely insane. People getting there like 5-6 hours early, crazy stuff. They finally opened the gates and people were able to drive through and get to the parking. Now I'm gonna give you a tip here. Prime parking versus regular parking. So regular parking we got for free included as part of annual pass holders. So that was great. As an annual pass holder, I didn't have to pay to park. In order to upgrade to the prime parking, it was the difference in the price. So it was like, I forget, 15 to 18 bucks or something like that was what we ended up paying. And we did purchase the prime parking. I was like, oh, I'll pay a little bit extra. Maybe it's like $13. I will say you don't need to do prime parking if you are there early, basically for rope drop. I think later in the day prime parking I would recommend getting, but if you're there for rope drop, don't bother, because where you end up parking is at the same exact space, distance-wise away from the park, except on the left side of the parking lot instead of the right side. So the left side is the prime parking where we were parked, and right across, directly across the little sort of walkway in the middle was where they were parking the regular people. So we were literally like side by side. So there was no advantage to doing prime parking if you're there for rope drop as of right now. So then we walked into where the security gates are, and once again, to my surprise, we were very close to the front of the line. There was a decent amount of people there, people who had walked from Stella Nova, people who had taken hotel transportation and got there, and obviously a few people that were in front of us from the parking situation. At 6:45, they let us in the park. They started opening the security and letting us through the park, so we were able to get about 6:45, and we went straight for the Ministry of Magic Wizarding World portal. So all the portals were closed off, and the entire Celestial Park was open. In previews, they were basically walling everybody off in the left and right sections in front of the stores there, right in the very front of Celestial Park, and they didn't even let you get to the portals. For this event, and I don't know how it's going to continue, they allowed us to go all the way to whatever portal we wanted to go to, and then we all stood there behind these little like barriers waiting for the opening celebration of the portal. We chose to go to the Ministry of Magic, which I quite frankly wish we had not done, but we did that because we wanted to ride, of course, Battle with the Ministry. That was our #1 thing we wanted to see and cover At 8 o'clock, they did an opening celebration where they did a little bit of like fireworks, did a little announcement from Steven Spielberg, and they opened the portal. There was no special characters that came out. My understanding is they did have characters over at Dark Universe, and they had characters at Super Nintendo, and I think they might have even had characters at How to Train Your Dragon, because I talked to some of my influencer friends who were at those portals. They did get stuff. At the Wizarding World, there was no one. Not a single person was at the portal. So that was the least interesting portal opening, just as a heads up if they do this in the future. I know a lot of you have probably seen all the videos of like Warwick Davis being there and all these other crazy things. Yeah, that was only for the special VIP event, which I will talk about in a little bit. So at 8:20, they opened the portal after the little celebration event, and we all basically walked straight into the Wizarding World over to battle at the Ministry and got in line there. I know there's a lot of videos of people like running and it was a zoo and crazy. It really wasn't. It was just like people walking. Maybe a couple people decided to run, but for the most part, it was kind of chill, and we all just kind of walked to battle at the Ministry. And they pretty much blocked us and maybe a couple of rooms into battle at the Ministry. And then we sat there until noon. Actually, it's even worse than that, but we only sat there till noon because the ride was not open. At about 9:15, which is interesting because a lot of the other portals which were open right out of the gate, and they opened at 8:20, the park was not actually technically open until 9 a.m. So even though they let everyone in the portal at 8:20, the park wasn't open until 9. So we knew we were going to be sitting there for at least 40 minutes waiting for the ride to open. I've understood that they opened a lot of the other attractions even before 9 o'clock. So like Stardust Racers and some of the other ones in the other portals, they were even open before 9 o'clock. You could see the wait time starting to pop up on the app because we were watching the app. I know a lot of people were there. So we're all like, okay, whatever, that's fine. We could have been writing stuff even before 9 o'clock, but no big deal. We're here in Battle of the Ministry, and we're really close to the front of the line at Battle of the Ministry. I mean, we were like maybe like 20 to 50 people back in the line, so we were really close to the front. So we figured when it opens at 9, we'll be on it right away, and we'll be done, and we'll be off to the races to do other stuff. But again, it did not open. At 9:15, they announced, sorry, we're doing our best to get it open. It's not ready. Hopefully it starts working very soon. Now, if you're wondering, the ride did eventually open on grand opening day at 4 o'clock, around 4 o'clock p.m. So the ride was down from opening to 4 o'clock. It was not running. We were actually getting to the point where we were thinking it's not even going to open at all today. So the struggle that we had in that situation was that they really weren't letting people go. And what I mean by they're not letting us go, we could have left at any time. We could have walked away, but we would have gotten no express pass, no free like come back later and you get to skip the line pass. You could just choose to leave the line. And we could have done that, 100%, we could have done that. But knowing what I know about Battle of the Ministry, we're like, we probably should stay in the line for a little while and see if it opens up. They were giving us free water and some snacks and popcorn and stuff in the line after we had been in there for a few hours, so that was nice. But we stayed, so why didn't we leave? Why did we choose not to leave? You think, why would you sit there for hours and wasting your time? It's because we kept thinking the ride was going to open soon. We really just in our mind didn't think it's not going to open for hours and hours and hours, right? I mean, it's grand opening day. Like, this isn't technical rehearsals anymore. Like, you could say, like, well, it was technical rehearsals. You paid money, but you didn't, you should have known better. This was grand opening day. We were expecting the ride to be functioning because it's been working before now. So we're like, it's going to be working soon, right? So we should stay in the line for a little bit. And then eventually they would, like, move us up a little bit. Like, they'd open up, like, one of the new rooms, and we'd move forward. And we're like, oh, we're making progress. Like, they're expecting it to open, so we're going to move forward a little bit. So it just kept, like, baiting us to stay in line. All these little things kept happening. And at one point, we kind of left the line to go to the restroom and came back, and they had actually cleared the entire line, almost like a couple of rooms behind us. They had cleared the line, and there was no line at all, no outside line, no inside the queue line. So we thought, well, they're probably going to start giving out, maybe like if they do say we're going to cut the line at this point, they're going to give us the express pass. So we should at least just wait around for the express pass, so if they open it later, we can come back. It would not have been that many passes to give out. So the whole time we're sitting in the line and we're looking at the wait times for the other attractions, and I'm getting more and more nervous at this point because I'm like, man, the other attraction wait times are going to start skyrocketing. And as the day moves on and more people arrive, I was getting stressed out because I'm like, the wait times are going to start going up, but they're pretty low right now. It was still weird that I was looking and seeing the wait times were low. I was still confused by that. Now, I do want to mention, it did say the wait time for Battle with the Ministry was 300 minutes right at the beginning of the day. 300 minutes right out of the gate is what it said. And people were all reporting, the wait time for Battle with the Ministry has skyrocketed to 5 hours on opening day. That was all false. 100% incorrect. That information, everybody put that news out, was wrong. It did not skyrocket to 5 hours. That is incorrect because it wasn't open. It never opened. So even though it said 300 minutes on the app, that was wrong and that was false. It didn't even open. Later in the day, it dropped to about 90 minutes. I know some people that were able to get on Battle with the Ministry at the end of the night in like 40 minutes, just as a heads up. Now, I do also want to mention, we purchased the express passes because we thought, you know what, we're just going to chill. I don't want to worry about lines and stuff. And I never, ever buy express passes, by the way. I never buy express passes because they're not worth it. It's not worth my money. I would rather wait in line here and there and be smart about it. I never buy express passes, but I was like, you know what? It's opening day. I probably should buy them if we want to ride anything because it's going to be a zoo, right? Makes total sense. So at this point, they move forward again. And again, we're getting false hope that, hey, we're moving forward to another room. And what's really weird is that they opened the line behind us now, and they were letting people get in line again. And so the line was getting longer and longer and going outside of the attraction. So I'm like, okay, they're opening the line up, which means it should be opening up soon, right? Why else would they let more people get in line? Because if it does eventually not ever open and they have to release that entire line, they have to give express passes to more people. So at this point, we said, you know what? I'm done. It's noon. I'm out of here. But I've already waited hours and hours for this ride. I'm tired of it. We're wasting our entire day. We're out of here. So we ended up leaving the line. And on our way out, we talked to somebody at the entrance. And we did ask for a supervisor because just wanted to see, like, hey, is there anything you can do? Can we get an express pass or not? Because usually if you talk to the regular team members, the non-supervisors, they can't do anything. And so we talked to the supervisor, and she was super nice about it. She said, no problem, and she gave us a couple of black passes. So Ruby passes are what they use at Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios. It's called the Ruby Pass, which is like the all-access express pass if a line, if a ride goes down, that can be used for Hagrid's. Whereas, like, if you're on Spider-Man and it breaks down, they give you a regular pass, which will allow you to ride any other attraction, except you can't ride things like Hagrid's because it's not like the top-tier pass. So whenever you get the Ruby Pass, you're truly blessed because you can use it for Hagrid's and things like that. So the Black Pass is essentially the equivalent of that over at Epic Universe. The Blue Pass is the normal pass over like Universal Islands of Adventure. So they ended up giving us 2 Black Passes and 2 Blue Passes, which I thought was really nice because we could use that for another attraction if needed. Now they did eventually drop the line a little bit after we left and gave everybody express passes. So overall, our grand opening morning it started off pretty bad. I mean, you gotta admit, that's pretty bad. Like, you've been there since 5 a.m. and it's now noon and you've done nothing. You've literally done nothing. And the marquee attraction at Epic Universe is closed. Because it's not like the ride was like down for a little while. This isn't like we went to Diagon Alley opening and we waited 7 hours for Gringotts. And I've talked about that ad nauseum. But at least that line was moving. They were having problems with the ride. But at least it was moving. So we were like making progress. It just took 7 hours to do. I mean, this was literally closed. So the very first thing we did after that was we went to Concierge, which was kind of right outside Ministry. And I just talked about the experience and asked about potentially getting a refund for our express passes because it's now noon. We had not used them, obviously. And at this point, like, we're hours into the day and I'm like, we might as well just get a refund for express passes. And they were like super cool about it. They were like, yeah, no problem. Like, as long as you haven't used them, we'll give you a refund. So we ended up getting like $556 back, and I was like, well, that was actually really cool. We got that back. That was nice. So our day finally started about 12:30, and we had kept looking at wait times, and I'm like, man, the wait time for Minecart Madness is pretty small. We should run over there. So we ran over there, rode Minecart Madness. We hit that really quickly, and it was walk-on. Like, went to Minecart at noon, like 12:30. Minecart was walk-on. We did Bowser's and Yoshi's. We grabbed a snack, which was great. And we had all of Super Nintendo World. I mean, all of Super Nintendo World and the snack, I think, done in like a half an hour. Maybe 45 minutes. Like, crazy. So the wait times were still low. And I'm like, well, not everybody's at Ministry. Like, why are the wait times so low? Then we went over to How to Train Your Dragon. We rode Hiccups several times in a row. We did all of How to Train Your Dragon. We watched the show. We ate lunch. And at this point, I was like, you know what? The park's empty. Like, the park is empty. You may have seen my TikTok or my short on that. Like, it's far enough in the day now where everybody who's here is going to be here, and nobody's in line for Ministry anymore because they had closed it completely and kicked everybody out, and the lines are still empty. It was so crazy that we were getting re-rides. Like, literally walking, like, as soon as we got off a ride, I just look over and be like, hey, is it cool if we re-ride this? They're like, yeah, no problem. Just get right back on the ride. No problem. You didn't have to go back through the line or anything. We did that on so many attractions, just kept re-riding and re-riding. It was insane. So what exactly was going on? I know a lot of people were basically saying, well, it's because they capped capacity for opening day. And while that is true, I don't think that's the whole story. This is pretty crazy because there was more people at the previews and even the VIP event that was the day before than there was at opening day. It's insane. Like, my understanding from talking to a lot of folks and insiders, they told me that they were expecting more capacity, more people at the park than actually showed up. I think the numbers were something like 10 to 15,000, 10 to 12, something around there, maybe 9,000. They were expecting around that. And I'm pretty sure they only ended up getting maybe like 5,000 or 6,000 people, which is insane how low of amount of people were there. They started to get their first indicators and they even started to sell more tickets. They were trying to sell more tickets even as of like the day before grand opening. They were trying to sell more tickets at City Walk. They were trying to push and sell more tickets at all the hotels and get more people to attend. They just weren't selling them. I mean, people weren't buying them. They also invited everybody out to that VIP event the day before where they did all the special stuff. And then they told them, hey, you can come back for the grand opening, like just for free, like just come back tomorrow, just attend. My understanding is most of them didn't. They didn't come back for grand opening. So that like a capacity they were expecting for grand opening disappeared right away because they didn't come. One thing I do want to mention about that VIP day that I did not think was great, in my opinion, is they were allowing them to buy like the special limited edition merchandise. I said limited edition, not like unlimited, but limited edition merchandise during the VIP day. And a lot of it sold out, and then they did not get any more of it for grand opening. So unfortunately, like, I wasn't going to buy any of that stuff anyway, to be honest. I mean, it did not affect me in any way, shape, or form. But I do feel like it was a bit unfair for people who, I mean, obviously, like, because it makes you think, like, who exactly is grand opening for? The fans or for influencers and media? I didn't really like that. I felt like that was a little off-putting to me because a lot of people came to grand opening and spent a lot of money and wanted to be there and they're excited. They've been waiting for years. And they went to the grand opening and they couldn't get any of the special limited merchandise. It was all gone. So I felt that was a bit unfair, to be honest. Now, I did all of my shopping after the park closed. Because again, I want to get the most out of the park. And I always recommend this. I tell this to people all the time. Don't go shopping. Don't waste your time. Maybe some of the little stores here and there, but like, don't spend a lot of time shopping. Do your major shopping after the park closes because they stay open after the park closes. You get more time. So for us, we were there like an hour and a half after the park closed still. And I did end up picking up an opening day Epic Universe shirt. Check it out. And right here on the sleeve, there is a little sort of like 2025, May 22nd, grand opening for Epic Universe little thing on it. And so I ended up picking this up, and they had plenty of these by the end of the night. It was a little hard to find my size, but I ended up finding it at one of the other stores. So I ended up getting that after the park closed. So again, good advice. Don't waste your time shopping. Do it after the park closes. Now, my absolute favorite part of grand opening was meeting all of you. That was like, I'm not gonna lie, like that was my favorite thing. If I didn't get to ride anything, to be honest, I would have still had such a great time because I got to meet so many of you. I think over 100 people, like over 100 people came up to me and talked to me, got pictures with me. Hey, by the way, if you post those pictures of us, post them online because you post them and you tag me, I will definitely share them on my stories and stuff. I'd love to reshare them. Again, The Noble Way on YouTube, but on a lot of my other social channels, it's at The Noble Ways with an S on it. So if you're looking for me, that's it. Unfortunately, some jokers had The Noble Way for some reason. I don't know when I created this channel. So I had to add an S for all my channels except YouTube. So if you're looking at me, tag me. I'd love to share your photos. I will say the team members were amazing. All the team members were fantastic. You all did such a great job. I'm so like, you should be very proud. Except for there was one really rude dude that was at Minecart Madness. I don't know what his problem was. I'm not gonna call him out specifically, but like, he was rude, and I don't know why. It was unnecessary. But other than that dude, that one guy, Everybody else was fantastic. So overall, it was an amazing day. A couple of rides went down like intermittently, briefly. That was pretty much it. They got them all back on track really quickly. I will say this, if the park had been at full capacity, I feel like it would have been a really bad day for me because of starting off with Ministry and that situation, and then having to wait 2, 3, 4 hours for every single ride. It would have been diabolical. So I don't know if it was like really smart planning on Universal's part, or it was a combination of that and a little bit of luck with people not showing up and not being able to sell all the tickets they were expecting. But either way, it ended up grand opening was amazing as a result of that. So as I started with the name of this video, was opening day a train wreck or was it a triumph? I am absolutely gonna say Epic Universe went from train wreck to triumph on opening day. It really was fantastic. Again, I did end up getting to ride Battle with the Ministry with the Express Pass. Still had to wait about an hour with the Express Pass because so many people had that Express Pass at that point. But still, like, we got to do everything. It was a fantastic day. I have absolutely no hesitation to tell everybody who's watching this video, go there now. Like, drop everything, get your trip booked, go to Epic Universe. It is fantastic. So that's all I've got. Be sure to check out my full video dropping tomorrow. It's gonna be everything, totally spoilers in there, so be ready. But once again, I thank you all so much for watching. I hope to see so many more of you in the park as we continue to go. We will be there next Thursday as well, so if you're there, please look for me, say hi. I'm gonna be with my whole entourage of like 15 to 20 people, all families coming into town. So be on the lookout for me. Stop me and say hi. Get a picture with me. I would love to see it. Again, that was my favorite part, and it will continue to be my favorite part. I love meeting all of you, and thank you so much for supporting me. Be sure to like and subscribe and share this video with all your friends and everybody you care about, because trust me, they're going to want to watch this. So until I see you next time, the noble way is the easy way. Bye-bye, everybody.